up there and singing. And it's terrifying. I'm not a singer. Well, I shouldn't say that. I love to sing.
Me too.
Yes. I was a pretty good singer. And the funny thing is, we got ourselves one of those systems where you sing, what is it?
Karaoke?
Karaoke. Yes, I got a karaoke machine. And at Christmas time, and I had the big box there. I got a big box of my karaoke machine, and my wife gave it to me. And I got a karaoke machine. And the whole family, except my wife, walked out the door and said, "How could you, Ma?" They call it a Roland voice. I call it Roland one note. Well, everything in life, you just have to try your best and have fun. Well, right now I'm working towards being a professional speaker. And I'm just having a ball at it because I do a couple of tools. I'll give you those today. One is I use assumptive thinking. Assumptive thinking is where you start with the position of completing it. You're already there. So the first thing you do is you make yourself a professional speaker. And how do you do that? What's a professional? Justin? Someone that gets paid, right? So you take a nickel out of your pocket and you put it in the other pocket. Now you're what? A professional. So you start out and you're at an assumed spot. And being at an assumed spot, everything's easier because all you're doing is working from being a professional. Have you ever noticed that when you're studying for a student, everything's hard and you really got to work in. But after you finish, and you go to tell someone and you reach information on giving them little instructions on what you're doing, you're a professional. Of course it's all easy. Of course it's all easy. That's the key. Of course it's all easy. Because professionals just study. I was talking to a fellow by the name of Carlos Torres. And he's a doctor from El Salvador that practice up in northern Montana as a doctor. And I said, "Carlos, when you're a student, was it hard to learn or hard?" He says, "Yeah." I says, "What happened after you got your certificate?" He says, "Oh, you just read stuff and you get it right away because you're a doctor." Well, if you start off working in the assumptive process, if you put yourself at being there already, then everything else sort of fits in. Everything else follows easily. Now, this weekend, I had the opportunity to go in with a bunch of absolutely great speakers, world-class speakers. I flew all the way to Fort Lauderdale to meet with this group. And this group is called the Siebol Success Network. And Steve Siebol has been in the business now for about 14 years. And he is one of the greatest speakers in the world. And he's a person that works at it. And he works at it forever. And if you look at it, actually, did everyone get one of my cards? If you get on it, I have a lead into his group. Well, I went there, and I thought I had traveled far when I had traveled for the one-day group meeting in Fort Lauderdale this last weekend. But I came in there, and the first person I met was Myra Golding, and she was from Israel. She had flown all the way in from Israel. And then I met someone else. And this lady was a speaker in Malaysia. Whoa. And then I met someone from Australia. I says, man, I'm with some class people, that they would fly all the way in to see Steve and Dawn, his wife, from all these countries. And I started, they were from Hong Kong and Germany and South Africa, all over the world. And they were the nicest, most powerful people. And when I got in that room, I found out that of the 100 people there who are going to be founders of a new professional speaking group, over half were Toastmasters. And they were top Toastmasters from around the country and from around the world now. And they had moved in to this profession from being Toastmasters. And also, all of them, or a lot of them, they raised their hands, and there was just a huge group that had self-motivational seminars. They'd all went and learned from the motivational speakers of the world. And normally, Toastmaster people and motivational people sort of fit into the same group. They're people that want to add value to their lives, that continue pushing themselves to be greater. And I was thrilled. And I was walking along, staying alive, staying alive. That's hard for me to sing like that. And that's my next step. So I've been doing it every time now, till it's comfortable for me. And that's what you do as a professional speaker. You challenge yourself and you try new things. When you get up here to speak, you try new things. Every time, if I can think of something, I try something new. Like singing, or screaming, or being very quiet. But I challenge myself. And the Siebol group have got a bunch of world-class people that do the same thing. And you all remember my magic staff? You all remember? Mm-hmm. Well, we named it. We were going to give a present. I was over here in Niles. I was going to give a present. And I looked at my sweetie pie, and I thought I had a name. And I says, what are we going to call it? She turns around and she says, his name is Fred. Well, that's the name I had in my mind. So, the magic staff you remember now is now named Fred. Now, I don't know why his name is Fred, but my stake is now Fred. So, that's got to be part of my presence and my image as a professional speaker, is to have my small processes. One is to have Fred with me. And the other is, I have this Western hat that I have a wonderful story for, and it's a true story of me wanting to be a cowboy. And I love this hat. And this last year, I added a new necklace on it. It was made with horsehair by an Indian chief at the Ute Mountain Tribe. And I was at the Ute Mountain Tribe in Colorado teaching for 2 weeks. And when I go to these tribes, I always go out and I meet they call them medicine man or shaman. But I meet these and I talk to them. And they're very similar. They keep their organization and everything going with old men stories. They have old medicine men stories, but they have old man stories. Now, I decided I'm going to start a website for old men stories. And you all saw the card. And it all goes around this whole process of growing up in my new status as a professional speaker. So I am a professional speaker. What is that? Assumptive thinking, right? And I love what I do. I absolutely love sitting up here and talking to you. It just thrills me when I see a smile or a laugh. It's wonderful. And you know, I'm going to celebrate this next month my first year as a Toastmaster. Because I started out a year ago with my assumptive thinking. Now, when I got to the Bay Area, there were 50 clubs in the 10-mile area. When I was in Minnesota, there was one club in 50 miles. So I, wow, I can join. So I joined 5 clubs. And I'm just having a ball. And the people in each one, it's like each one of the groups has its own personality. And depending on where they're at, they have a different feeling. And they're all absolutely 100% fun in a different way to me. So if you ever get an opportunity, go to other clubs. The people in Toastmasters are some of the most wonderful, gracious, self-motivated, hard-working people that I've ever met. And I've been around for a long time. Well, Old Man Stories are about bringing these things that I have worked with and studied, the learning experience, the assumptive training, all these things, bringing them back and giving them out to people. And also, as a sideline, to give those that really want to go out and be a professional speaker a direction to go. All of us want to go up and grab a microphone and sing or be something on stage. And Toastmaster people are basically some of the ones that actually are taking the step. We are actually taking that step. We don't have a microphone up here, but we might as well. Someone should just have one so they could have one just to have fun up here. Even doesn't have to even talk, but just to hold it. Being a professional speaker, you will have a lot of old men stories. Now, when I say men, I don't mean exactly men, I mean human. Because when you say you're an old man, it's pretty cool. Well, when you say you're an old woman, it just doesn't work. So, I'm going to put it all under old men stories, and then we'll have an auxiliary. So, I want you all, if you get the opportunity to look at old men stories, I'm creating the website myself. So, it's a work of love. And I'm absolutely having fun with it. And I'm relearning, which I learned about 4 years ago when I was over 65, how to do websites. And just watch it as I build it. And you just get on it every once in a while and look at it. But I'm just having a ball doing it. I'm having fun. And between power naps, between power naps as a 7-year-old, I'm creating this. And I want you all, and any of you that really would like to participate with me to help me build my site, I'd like you all to have fun. And I want to, a little sideline, old man stories. I had a first person at one of my clubs by the name of Jeff Young. And I said, old man stories are relative. I said, what do you mean, relative? I said, well, he said, when I was in first grade,